Are your feet still in good condition, madam?
I am exhausted. A whole 3 kilometers. No, it was lots of fun, and I have to say Atteridgeville was beautiful and clean, and the people were so friendly.
Okay, let's talk more about the cadets themselves. What more do you know about the organization and the work that they're doing beyond today's walk?
Well, what's interesting is that a financial group called Ensure Group began this work in about 2014, and then the cadet program was registered as a non-profit organization, I'm told, last year. They work in a number of schools in Atteridgeville, including one for SK Moseneke, or named after him, and they do outreach, they do sport, they also do tutoring for some of the students, and the aim is to have the first class of the cadet program graduate with matric exemption by, I think it's 2023 or 2025.
A vast group, I mean a diverse group of people, I should say, who came out today. I was just saying in the intro that, you know, everyone from young and old came to take part in this walk today. You were able to speak to some of the people. What's on their mind?
Yes, we heard from a number of different people. The marshals, for example, included parents of some of the students and pupils involved in the group, the contingent marching through the streets of Atteridgeville or walking. The music was so loud, I think anybody asleep when the march began was awake by the time it was done. And we heard from one of the organizers, Kuketso Moseneke, and she spoke about how this program has been going and why it's so important. Let's have a look.
So often children who excel at primary school go to high school and they get lost. They are teenagers, they are dealing with teenage challenges, with growing, with a different environment altogether. And we are taking children that are starting in grade 8 this year. These young people are going to be mentoring them through the 5 years until they get to matric. Hashtag no 30%. We want children of the cadets, all of them, to be able to get a university exemption.
The aim, Erin, make education fashionable, but we know education in South Africa is quite expensive. But today's event ties in with what's happening tomorrow, June 16. Dozens of young people who died fighting for a fair education in South Africa. Was that on anyone's mind at all today?
It definitely was, and before we get to a comment from one of the other organizers on that, I spoke to 2 women who are twins, in fact, who'd come to Atteridgeville especially to participate in this event. They were there in their academic regalia, their gowns, and they spoke about both some of the perks and values of doing education, following through schooling and into university as much as possible, and also, of course, some of the challenges of making sure that institutions are reliable. Let's have a look at both of their comments now.
Work hard and study. Listen to your parents. Education is the key. Without education, you are not going anywhere. We know that people are desperate, but they must be careful for that. They must check on the system for the colleges that are registered with the Department of Education. Otherwise, they're going to end up losing their money, and at the end of the day, they're going to have nothing.
The twin sisters weren't the only people you were able to speak to. Who else did you catch along the streets of Atteridgeville?
Well, we heard from the group chairman of the Ensure Group, who is involved in this cadet program. And as you say, with the 1976 Youth Day commemoration tomorrow, where, of course, as you've highlighted, you know, young people who are fighting for a fair and respectable education against the apartheid government were shot in the back by security police. That certainly was on the minds of the people organizing this event. Let's take a listen.
We chose this moment in remembrance with respect to all of the people who laid down their lives in order for us to have the better society that we now have. So we dip our banners for those and remember those struggles dearly. But we also want to make sure that these young people are not captive to that history, that they can rise above that history, that it mustn't define them. They mustn't forever feel like underdogs. They must feel like they can break out of that stranglehold.
ENC reporter Erin Bates, always great chatting.